Stop getting into our covenants and bondage. You may not escape this time around. We vow to deal with those with great destiny but sexually careless. Be watchful.
Um, about 20 years back, I heard a man of God say this story during his message. And in the story, he mentioned an elderly prophet with a young evangelist. They stood by the bus stop and they were going out. All of a sudden, a young, beautiful lady joined them at the bus stop, and the young evangelist lost concentration. He just kept his focus, his gaze, you know, on the beautiful, light skinned, slim young lady standing um, at the bus stop. The elderly man of God scanned in the spirit, and all of a sudden, the man spoke in Yoruba and he said, Parada. Parada means be transformed. And all of a sudden, the lady turned into a cowrie. Cowrie. Of course, cowrie is usually found under the sea. So that shows where the young lady actually came from. So the young man, the elderly prophet, picked up the cowrie and pocketed that cowrie. And of course, what a profound lesson to the young prophet or to young men, that not every beautiful lady you see, I don't have a problem with beauty. But the lesson there is that not everyone you assume
We
is
vow to deal with those with
human
great
is
destiny
human.
but sexually careless.
Yes,
Be
the human
watchful.
species. Not everyone is human. Oh, that reminds me again the story of this happened somewhere around University of Lagos Lagoon front. If you know Unilag, true life story. I also heard this from another respectable man of God in this country. And in the story, he said a man sat by the lagoon front, and not too long after, a young lady joined him. So both of them committed sexual immorality right there. That's someone he had never met. So they committed immorality. And after that, maybe the man enjoyed it so much, and the man said, young girl, damsel, where do you stay? Which of the halls? And the girl pointed into the river. True life story. And the man was like, no, I mean Queen Amina, I mean Moremi. And so started calling names of female hostels in the University of Lagos here in Nigeria. And the girl said no. And she pointed again to the water. And the man said, you cannot be serious. All of a sudden, um, the young girl said, watch me. So she started walking gently, wriggling and swerving her wrist, the waist, as she got into the water, and all of a sudden she vanished. True life story. And of course, if you are familiar with that axis I mentioned, there is another ministry anointed for deliverance with signs and wonders. So that man ran to that church, ran to that ministry, and started shouting, I want to see Gio. I must to see Gio. And the ushers and the protocol said, no, hold on, Gio is busy, blah. Said, no, is it because I'm not a member? I must to see Gio. And of course, the man turned everything into noise and until the man of God came out. And that was how God helped him. Now, let me say this. This happened at the youth church. True life story. Yeah. This should be 2011 precisely. Yeah. 2011 precisely. After service, a young girl walked up to me for counseling. I'm not telling you of a story I don't know. I'm talking about a story I sat there to watch the girl. So when she and it's our custom in the church. Hey, you're welcome. What's your name? What would you like to see the pastor for? And the young girl said, and so I said, what's your name? And she mentioned her name. And I said, is that all? What I actually meant was, is that all? And the girl said, no. I said, no, I mean your other names. Then she mentioned another name. I know. And I said, what does that mean? And she said she was Princess something. She mentioned her name. Ah, I said, of what kingdom? And she said, under the water. So that caught my attention as a minister of the gospel. And I said, what do you do? And she said she's in charge of children initiation. I'm sure you heard that right. That she's in charge of children initiation. Now, let me now say this to you clearly. There are some of you that you have put your schools in the best of schools. It doesn't matter how much you pay. Do you know some of the other children or teachers or parents that also have
Stop get
access to your children. True life story. I don't want you to get very emotional. I just want you to be realistic and get more spiritual. I want us to put on our thinking caps. Let us think and see how we can make a difference. As she said, she's in charge of children initiation in that kingdom. So they initiate, they draw people, they invite people into their kingdom. So innocent children from different homes, from different religion, but their job is to bring them under the waters. Wow. And I said, how do you do it? And she said a lot of things. Profound practical knowledge for the ministry of deliverance. You know, of course, I had been in deliverance some years before then, but some of the things the young girl said opened my eyes the more. And then we spoke and spoke and spoke. And one of the things she said, I wanted to take note of is, so I didn't even know why I said, um, I asked the question. And she started mentioning, and then I'm like, you know, I now deviated it into sex that I hope you've not been sleeping about. And the young girl told me. So, okay, I said, do you have an idea of how many people? And she said she cannot count how many people that she has had sex with. I said like 2, 4, 5, 10, 20. She smiled. She said she couldn't count. Very profound truth that she could not count. I said, so what is the implication of those who has had sex with you? I know what she told me. She said, that's for men now. That by the time they are married, it will be difficult for their wives to conceive, to get pregnant. Yeah. I said, why? What? Conceive, to get pregnant. Yeah. I said, why? What? She said, every time anyone discharge or they release into her, that their sperm goes directly under the waters. I couldn't fathom it. This is a young girl. Are you telling me that you have now become a gate to the water world? Yeah. And she looked at me and smiled and nodded her head. That every time they release the thing, so there are a lot of sperm, a lot of things that are, a lot of deposits, virtues of people right under the waters. I'm telling you true life story. Those were the things the young girl told me. True life story. Okay. Let me leave that a bit. I remember the story of another man. This happened in another mega church, and it was a deliverance session. And while we're talking, the man started. Sorry, this may be strange, like I said, but please permit it, because the things of the spirit at times can be foolishness to them who are not of that region. And in his own case, in his own organ, he's got pin. So every time he deposits, he releases into any woman, there are spiritual pain that puncture the womb of those sisters. It's vice versa. So this thing is not just about brothers being the victims or sisters being the victim. Both sides can be victims. True life story. True life story. I remember again, this one happened somewhere. I don't want to mention it because of those who could trace me, but true life story. It was also a counseling session after Sunday service, so it was a counseling session. And these young, they came to me. I heard a lot of things. One of them was drawing things on a paper, and I said, "What is this?" I said, "These are my spiritual children." You could say they are crazy. You could say they are being lunatic. You are free to say so many things if you don't understand. But please, this will pay you to listen to this to the end and learn some wisdom. Even if you think we are cooking it up or we are forging all these spiritual lies, please learn wisdom and dodge a problem that you may not be able to solve. To get so the young lady was drawing. Another one now walked past her, and that one said, I hope I won't offend people from Lagos. So now start talking about the Lagos lagoon. Well, maybe I shouldn't even say this for today. Story of another day. Yes, when I'm very sure that some of you will accept it and will not. So some of these things we have seen. I remember the story of this young girl again. This happened somewhere in a college of education in Oyo about 15, 20 years back. And it was a vigil. And when manifestation started, this young girl, we had to ask her, so who are you? And what we heard, see, I'm not sure some of you would be able to accept this for now. So let's just move a bit further. Now, we are in the era where a lot of people have taken prostitution, hookup. We are not against. We So many things might have brought you into it, but I need you to listen because not everyone that you think is human, that is a human species, is actually a human species. Oh, I remember again the story of. I remember again the story of this young brother who actually entered into their trap. The young girl wanted to date him at all cost, and the moment the brother said yes, after the whole thing, trust me, his life on campus, true life story. The brother started behaving like a dog. Yeah, he started barking. He was barking. You will think he was beaten by rabies. What some people don't understand is that every time, every time there is intercourse, a covenant is being established. Trust me, a covenant is being established. And then in your old age, in fact, right from that time, I've seen people that right from the day of of that intercourse, the first thing they notice is that there's a sense of emptiness is introduced into their life. You will know that virtues have gone out of you. I'm telling you true life story. The moment you get up, right? Virtues. I remember the story of this brother again. This one happened again on campus. He came to confess. Immediately, okay, while they were having it, immediately he discharged. The sister just started laughing mysteriously, laughing, and spoke Yoruba or what he buy. Let me interpret that for those who don't understand Yoruba. Now you have entered into our trap. Now we have caught you. Yeah. She laughed. And then the brother, maybe he lost his common sense. He couldn't understand that that was a deep proverb. Now, let me say this clearly. The hunter who follows every pretty bird in the forest will never have a mate, will never catch any animal. If you keep following, you know, the brother did not understand. He went from top to down. Every time he tried to sleep at night, he would always wake up with scary dreams. He still did not understand until the ministry of deliverance was introduced to him. And God will bless those ministries who understand deliverance early enough, especially on campus. And let me say this again, big ministers should please not neglect the campus ministry and deliverance. Please do not, because a lot of things are happening. A lot of people who are having freedom for the first time, leaving their parents' houses. They want to roam like a bird. Now they are free. Now they want to gyrate, they want to taste, they want to explore, they want adventure, they want to, try all manners of things. And a lot of people get into trouble, especially those who do not understand what consecration early enough actually means. You get? So we've seen cases and cases. Some people will not even remember where they missed it and how they lost it. No. Oh, I remember the case again. Somewhere in Festac. Oh God. I won't call name. And this woman was always she for about 2 months. Every Sunday we were meeting and I was praying with her. And what was she always hearing? She was always hearing a voice crying against her, crying against her. The voice was always crying into her ears. Physically, she would hear. In the sleep all through the night, she would hear. We prayed and prayed and prayed. Prayed, oh Lord, we bind you, we cast you. We did all manners. And trust me, thank God for the mercy of God. And I did not know why that Sunday morning. I just said, Ma, do you have any idea? Crying baby, baby crying. I didn't know why I said, have you aborted? And that was when the woman opened up. I hear shege. Even as a married woman, She couldn't count how many abortions she's had. As young as I was then, I asked her, so why is you and your husband not protecting? Why are you not protecting yourselves during intercourse? Why did you have to? Or you know, all manners of things. Or maybe I should just deviate a bit. I've seen people with sexually transmitted demons, not diseases, demons. You ask them, where did you get this from? They don't even know. And then when they now start tracing, the girl who has not been smoking before, yeah, she begins to smoke. I was in one of the police area commands of Lagos here a few days ago. And when they brought in some people, I won't say much, I noticed that some young girls were also brought in with handcuff on their hand. They handcuffed them with guys. And something told me, within me, I knew that um, some of them, this girl must have gotten into trouble because of these guys. And many of those guys must have lured them either through money or intercourse, or they use money to bait them, or something like that. So people contact all manners of transmitted spirits. I hope you know that spirits can be transmitted. The same way a man of God lays hands upon you, the same way a man of God lays hands upon you and grace is impacted, is the same way someone can transfer something and another spirit is being impacted. Trust me. I've seen people who have gotten into all manners of spiritual bondage, soul ties. You know what I mean? Even after they are now married to their husband, their soul is still somewhere. There are people who have strange habits, things they cannot explain. You know why? They don't even know where it came from. They've slept with someone that has slept with someone who don't want to have slept with someone. So that thing has now been like how do I put it? Like is it um multi-marketing, from A to B, B to C, C to D, D to D, and the thing is like a reaction chain. It goes viral. Yes, people that trend with demons, good, that's the word. They trend with all manners of sicknesses, occultic soul ties, people who have been seduced. You know, I remember again the story of this young brother who told me anytime a lady passes by, his body will just start vibrating. And of course, I knew that was strange. That was not supposed to be a normal thing, right? Yes. So people sleep with beautiful strangers, people they don't know, people they don't know. Oh, I remember again this story again. I heard this from that respectable man of God in the ministry of deliverance in Nigeria here, who said a brother and a sister wanted to wed. And the sister said, bro, do you know me? Bro said, I know you. Said, bro, go and pray. Bro said, I'm a prayer warrior. I'm a prayer warrior. Said, bro. Anyway, both of them got married. And on the night of their wedding, for them to consummate, uh, sister told bro, go and switch off the light. So bro, bro got to the switch, switched it off. Then sister transformed. Sister transformed. Yes. Then sister told bro, put on the light. What bro saw on the bed was not sister. True life story. True life story. If you are in the ministry of deliverance, then you understand what I'm saying. It was a very big python on the bed. True life story. Bro screamed. Bro was sweating. And then sister said, switch off the light again. By the time you switch it on again, sister had transformed back again to a beautiful sister. Of course, both of them bro had to drag her to this respectable servant of God in the ministry of deliverance. It was from his mouth I heard this story. You can confirm it through his public preachings. At least I heard it. Right, good. So a lot of things happen. You get? Because you see, for people who sleep about, for people who don't guide their destiny jealously, you see, every time clean water or bottled water or drinks is manufactured, the owner, the manufacturing company usually puts a cork to seal it. When something is precious, you bottle it, you put a cork on it. But if you leave it open, the thing will be spilling about. A lot of people that have spilled about until they are now empty. That reminds me again this story, true life story. told by a Uber driver, told by a Uber driver, told by a Uber driver, true life story. This happened somewhere in Ikotu. If you know Lagos, that place is called Liasu Road. So the Uber parked there. These guys were inside the Uber, and they asked the guy to park. So the guy parked. When some girls will pass, they will stretch something from the vehicle to her, and then they will now say, meaning they've used this one, they've used that one, they've, and the Uber driver told the person who told me this story that out of every 10 girls, there were too many ladies that this guy was saying, no, this one no go work, that one no go work, that one no go work. And you see, something scares me because these are the same people that possibly our members, our friends, our children could marry. Yeah. We can't keep watching, folding our arms, and almost everyone is perishing. We have to do something, is what I'm trying to say. Right? So it's amazing the percentage, the risk. Some of them think it's jaye jaye. Let me put that in English. We are enjoying our life. We are enjoying ourselves. Some of them think it's normal. But trust me, there is always emotional damage. It's all a matter of time in your old age. And you see, one of the dangers of this thing is that many years or few years into your marriage, you may not be able to cope with your husband. If you have adapted to 7, 10 rounds, people that will push you left and right, and do you understand me? If what you have done for so long is you are used to multiple, the day they ask you to settle down with one and for one, then there will be trouble. There will be psychological trauma, emotional trauma. You will find it difficult to then be faithful. You won't be faithful because you have never been faithful. Do you get? So we need to come back to understand all these things, right? This intercourse, careless intercourse, has ruined the reputations of leaders, public figures, ministers of the gospel. Forget people are doing boldface. Forget all this boldface. It's all over the social media. It drags down people. Right from the I'm not mentioning names, but just look into the media. People have lost their lives. You see some elderly men being slain by a girl who is fit enough to be your daughter's age mate or your granddaughter's age mate. Some of them have died. They will only take them to court. After some time, they will throw it out of court. Because I want to believe that there could or there was an agreement ahead. So there's always a lot of regret. What about the shame that comes to your children? What about the shame to your wife? Oh, that reminds me again the story of a man that had a respectable wife, a beautiful, virtuous woman. But the man was busy pursuing. I don't want to qualify the kind of people the man was pursuing. People that don't even qualify to be his house help. I don't know, maybe it was enticed, maybe you call it was enticed, enchanted, hypnotized. I wouldn't know what word to use. Or you call it hypnotism. So on the long run, does it really pay you? Or are you not aware of all the organ harvesting? Have you not seen? Social media is even filled with this one was dating that one. Oh, I remember the story. This one, I think I read it on the Facebook. The girl happened to be the daughter of a high-class military personnel somewhere in the north and saw a guy online, decided to go, and of course the guy killed her. Last, they will jail the boy. Last. But the deed or the harm has been done. A lot of strange things. So if you now you see, initially I mentioned wisdom and strength to accomplish destiny. The strength I'm talking about is ability to be disciplined with your sexual organ. This also happens even in where people work. There are people who have you know what I mean now, in the place of work. Yes. Are you not aware? Most times, just drive, anytime 8, 9 p.m. in certain areas. You see all manners of girls locking about in on the streets. And what are they looking for? They are looking for casual sex partners. You may call them hookups without emotional attachment. You just want a quickie and then you make the money and you go. All these things will always backfire. Trust me. Whether for physical problem, for physical problems, right, or spiritual problems, it will always backfire. I'm not even talking about because there's no way you do some of these things, it will not lead to health issues. Most of them, you have health issues because the man who has paid, he want to use his money finish. You know what I mean? So he will use you and overuse you. Sorry about that word, but the man want to enjoy his money to the end. And then how much is the money compared to the organs that may be damaged, to the trauma, right? So there's a whole lot of things attached to it. You see, I've not even spoken about uh, deliberately. If you go to Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, and you go to Jude chapter 1, verse 6 to 7, there are enough reasons to tell you that that people can also even get going with the wrong spirits. I saw one on the is it YouTube, of a woman who has been married to the ghost, and I laughed. I didn't bother to open it, but because I know it is true, can I say this to you quickly? I don't want this video to be long, but I promise you I will be back. There's a whole lot to discuss on this. I promise you that I will be back. There are three things I need you to quickly adjust to, or that are the solution. Number one is to desist, to stop it. You can stop whatever you choose to stop. Desist, stop it. Yeah. Number two is deliverance. Go for deliverance. It's not enough to say now you have stopped, because there's something called addiction. It's spirit. It comes upon you. You may not be able to control yourself. Right? Good. And if you have been sowing that seed, be careful. There may be an harvest. Oh, I remember again the story of this young my friend, whose father was a rapist when he was young. I just noticed that this girl was always falling into the hands of those that would always rape. And so we decided to say, let us test run this. Please, when you go home, ask your dad if it was not the final say, his sins have visited him. Right. So I said desist, deliverance, and discipline. You have to be disciplined. Whatever it will take, please be disciplined. Get those that your life can be accountable to. Right? Yes. So that your destiny will not be distracted or perverse or diverted. Destiny diversion. So that you won't see. There's an adage in Yoruba language that says, where you are going is not far. It is where you are branching. Ibi tá ń lọ kò jìnnà. Ibi tá ń yà sí ló pọ̀ jù. So there are all manners of issues that people are having. But can I quickly advise you? Please make up your mind and seek for spiritual help. And if you also need therapists, please go and do that. And if this short clip has helped you, please listen to it over and over and over. Help us to like the video. Please help us to like it, subscribe, and share. Be a blessing to someone, and God bless you. See you at the next video. We are indeed grateful. Thank you.
Hey friend, will you be kind enough to help give this video a like, subscribe, and share? Be someone's grace. We are indeed grateful.